We're the ones who are going to shape the future. And if 1,500 corporations can get their way with a majority of 535 members of Congress, they don't have a single vote. They have money, they have power. They don't have a single vote. We have over 400,000 votes in every congressional district. It doesn't take that many. It just takes the organization of Congress watchdog groups with a minimum of 2,000 people who decide to make monitoring Congress and getting more good things out of Congress and getting less bad things out of Congress their civic hobby. And when someone says, you're just asking too much of people, in every congressional district, 2,000 people giving 100 hours a year connected with one another over the internet and over meetings and calling a member of Congress for accountability sessions in high school auditoriums, giving 100 hours a year and $100 a year to have a full-time office and a staff representing the people, the majority views on the directions of the country. Harry Truman proposed full Medicare for everybody in 1950. We still don't have it. We're not going to get it unless we organize to demand it. I might add that we call our campaign 0809 because we're going to move out of November 08 with your help, and only with your help, to help start those Congress watchdog groups. And if you think that's too much of a burden on 2,000 people, districts that have colleges and community colleges in them, as well as a lot of nonprofit philanthropies. I ask you to compare the energy of dedicated bird watchers. All you have to expect of Congress watchers is the energy of dedicated bird watchers. Bless their hobby. They get up at 5 in the morning, they go to the marshes, they have the binoculars, the pen, the pad, they record all the different birds, they meet with one another. If a unique bird is spotted 600 miles away in a New Jersey marsh that's never been seen in America, they get on planes, trains, motorcycles, cars. That actually was the case. There was a bird spotted, never seen in North America, and it created a melee. Just all kinds of people rushing with their cameras. And I was hoping that the bird would take off in New Jersey and head straight for Washington and land on the Congressional Dome. Justice is important and justice is fun. And to me, the great work of human beings on earth is justice. That's what Senator Daniel Webster said over 140 years ago or more. Justice is a great work of human beings on earth. Marcus Cicero defined freedom as participation in power. Isn't that a wonderful definition? By that definition, how much power is there? Freedom is participation in power. And an ancient Chinese proverb, and it's well to close on this note, over 2,000 years ago, caught my attention some years ago, because I've always believed this country has a lot of problems it doesn't deserve on the ground. Lots of poverty, lots of environmental devastation, lots of people who are excluded, harmed, disrespected, laid off, so that the factories could go to dictatorships abroad after they spent 30 years working in the plant. People who lost their pensions when they thought they had a good retirement because of the looting at the top of the corporation. People who are always called upon to do the fighting abroad, but when they come home, they're not given adequate treatment. Not because the Veterans Administration is incompetent. It's because it doesn't have an adequate budget for the huge influx of wounded and sick veterans. It's time to turn this country around. And that's why I think this ancient Chinese proverb is so appropriate. because of the gap between knowledge and action. So much knowledge. Solar energy, for example, ready to go big time. Affordable housing, ready to go big time. Clean drinking water. We have the technology. A decent tax system. We know all this. It's not that they're perfect solutions, but they're on the shelf and they're not being applied. They're good solutions. This gap between knowledge and action is a pathology. That's why the proverb is one you'll never forget. And I'll quote it. To know and not to do is not to know. To know and not to do is not to know. We want people who know and want to do to volunteer with our campaign so that we can campaign with the people, not just parade in front of them like the major candidates do. And for that, we welcome your donations, your volunteers, and your technical skills at votenader.org. Thank you very much.
After the speech, Ralph Nader took questions from the audience and signed copies of his books. You can watch more of Mr. Nader on Road to the White House this Sunday at 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, and online at cspan.org.